Patrick, first of all, amazing job on this film. I absolutely love The Man from Toronto. It is so much fun, but it has a ton of action in it. I think there's something for everybody in this film. First thing I got to ask you, though, is can you talk to me about the chemistry between Kevin and Woody? Because they are phenomenal together.
They are indeed. That's actually one of the most, I would say it's, because I really love the buddy action comedy genre, and I've been a huge fan of it forever, but it really hinges on the chemistry. And that's something that, in pre-production, I was talking with Kevin and Woody separately because they were both in different parts of the world shooting different movies. And it's really not until you get them on screen together if you know if that chemistry is going to be there or not. And as soon as we called action on the first take with them on screen, we just knew we had a movie. So that was a huge relief, because otherwise you got to feel like you're trying to force this chemistry. But they really are chalk and cheese in terms of their personality type. So it's just a beautiful combination to watch. A lot of fun.
How much of that chemistry carried over behind the camera?
Oh, there was a lot of chemistry. It was one of the strangest shoots I've ever worked on, in terms of, it felt like a weird school camp. That's what it felt like, because everyone was in lockdown, and you literally live inside a bubble. The only three people I was allowed to go near was Kevin and Woody and my DOP, and so to be stuck on a school camp with that combination of talent, it's a lot of fun. We actually had a lot of fun on and off camera, and it was, it's just that classic thing of half the problem is people laughing, ruining takes. I would say usually it's me that's the biggest culprit of that, but I would say Woody took the cake on this one. He was cracking up a lot.
I can only imagine. I mean, just watching it, I was busting up the whole time. Now, is there anything that surprised you from Kevin and Woody that they brought to the roles from The Man from Toronto?
I think I've been a huge fan of Woody, but just realizing that guy is uber fit. He is super fit, and he's into, he eats clean and he exercises, and he's all about the yoga and the spiritual grounding. And so that was something that really surprised me. So when it came time to do these stunts, he really put in the hard work, and certainly he's got some big fight sequences, and he did the homework on that. So I was really sort of blown away by that. And then with working with Kevin, this is the first time I worked with him, and I guess he is the hardest working person I've ever been on set with, and I say that without a doubt, because he's just incredible, and he gives it 110%, and he's there the whole day, ready at the drop of a hat. Whenever you need him, he's there, and really puts in the work. And we just had a lot of fun, because certainly with comedy, we have what's there on the page, but then we are being playful on the day and experimenting and trying things. And quite often I'd look off camera while we're doing different setups, and Woody and Kevin would be there practicing their banter or trying out something else. So it was just a wonderful combination of people, and just had an incredible crew as well, working in Canada, and the cast involved. So it was just, it could have been a horrible experience, and it ended up being a really wonderful experience.
It's incredible. Now, the one thing that really jumps off the screen, especially when you first see Woody, or when you see Woody for the first time, is The Man from Toronto, is his look. What kind of inspired that look? It's like that duster and that hat. It looked badass.
Yeah, no, I said from the beginning it should be a Western. Because it touches on, it's sort of a drifting angel archetype. And that's, all action films came from the Western genre. A lot of people probably not aware of that. Younger audiences aren't. But the drifting angel, when you take something like Shane or High Noon, it's the guy that comes into town who doesn't have a name. And he becomes the savior, and I like that notion. So I really sort of leaned into the Western. That's why, we have an opening that happens out in the desert. And we gave him, instead of a horse, he's got a 69 Dodge Charger. And, so we really sort of gave him this sort of mystical look. And when you watch the film, you'll see the subtle references to the Western.
It's incredible. Now, look, there's great comedy in this, there's also great action, which we touched upon earlier. There's a fantastic scene at Marty's gym involving the man from Tacoma and the man from Moscow. Was that the most difficult scene to film? But here's the thing. There's also a ton of comedy in that scene as well, which I thought was a brilliant blend.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we have a lot of fun trying to find those comedic pop moments, in amongst the action. We often all sort of break it apart and go, I'll highlight that specific moment there. That's an opportunity for a reaction from our heroes. But yeah, a lot of work went into that fight scene. And like the big thing on this genre is just balancing the comedy with the action and making sure it still feels like you want to have that threat. You don't want it to feel sort of farcical. So, a lot of work goes into specifically, that there's a big fight sequence in a gym that I think people will appreciate. And that's all in the prep. So by the time you get there on the day, you are we're just putting the pieces of all the shots together. I think it was like 32 shots, but it looks like one shot, and it's pretty epic. A lot of fun.
It's a fantastic sequence that happens in that gym. Now, this film also has a ton of heart. Yeah. There's themes of identity. There's also things about following your dream. How do the Man from Toronto and Teddy make each other better?
Well, I think initially it was, from when I started on the project, just in my mind, it felt like, well, here's a guy, Kevin Hart, who plays Teddy, and he sort of let life walk over him a bit. Right. And then you've got the Man from Toronto, who is in complete and total control, so much so that he's probably taken on way more control than is necessary and controls sort of every aspect of his life. And then whilst the Man from Toronto is physical and he deals with problems in a physical manner, albeit punching people in the face or killing them. He's a man of few words. And again, that goes back to the Western genre. And then I felt like, well, Kevin is a man of too many words and he talks too much and he could probably use some physicality in his life to take back control of it. And in the same, the flip side of that was that the Man from Toronto could perhaps learn to use his words instead of punching people in the face. So there is a nice duality to their relationship.
1,000%. Now, look, we had the Teddy bars, the Teddy bands, the Teddy tracksuit, Teddy contactless boxing. Were there any other Teddy products that didn't make it into the film, or any fitness gimmicks that
we had quite a few that we had a lot. We had a hit list of we had Teddy bowls. He was doing some squat stuff on a ball at some point. we had all these we sort of just whittled it down. We were like, this guy's he's a train wreck. I mean, poor Kevin Hart, you love him to bits, but his life, when we open the film, we find his life is falling apart somewhat.
Right. Look, I love to explore this world more. I mean, we met the man from Miami, the man from the man from was it the man from Japan? Or
yes, Tokyo,
and the man from Moscow. Do you want to explore these characters more, or even the characters of the Man from Toronto and Teddy more? And do you already have like action sequences you're planning out for a sequel?
Yes, very much so. I suspect there might be the Man from Melbourne in there, because I'd like to take number 2 back to Australia. No, I do. I think look, if we ever explore it further, I definitely think it's the title's going to shift. It'll be the Men from Toronto.
Oh, I love that. Now, I got to ask you, because I'm a big fan of the Hitman's Bodyguard. Who's coming out on top, Darius Kincaid or the Man from Toronto?
Oh, geez, I did consider that on set. I actually think we need a spin-off, because those two, I don't know how much comedy would be in that, other than I think that would be a straight, hard action thriller.
The world, I feel like the world from the Man from Toronto and the Hitman's Bodyguard can live in the same world.
We need a crossover, because I think Ryan Reynolds' character, Michael Bryce, in the Hitman Bodyguard franchise has some similarities to Kevin Hart's character in Man from Toronto. I think those two would be a bumbling mess between them.
What a fun buddy cop film that would be, right? Tracking somebody down.
That'd be some star power.
Yeah, really, right? Now, look, you have this great blend of comedy and action, and I feel like you do it so seamlessly that it really kind of reminds me a lot of these superhero type of movies. Is there any superheroes, whether they be Marvel or DC, that you'd like to take a crack at?
I'm not. It's not something that's on my radar. Certainly, I've got the next couple of projects I'm working on. There's a really sort of intense action thriller, and there's a sci-fi action. So because I've had a really good run doing the action comedies, and I really do love the genre, and I'll certainly be coming back to it in the future. It's just something that I don't know. I always sort of leaned into it. I think it was the big influence of the Coen brothers. When I was younger, I watched Raising Arizona as a kid, and that just changed my perception on storytelling, because just seeing that you could have an action sequence, but when you saw Nicolas Cage robbing a supermarket for baby nappies, to me that was just utter insanity and hilarious and weird, and and the threat's still there, but it's dark and it's funny. I love it, and I think I think it's a genre that audiences love too.
This is why I love your films, Patrick, is because I understand your cinematic language, and I think that it's meant for me. Like, as soon as I saw The Man from Toronto, I was like, this is brilliant. I absolutely loved it. But Patrick, I got to say, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it. The film is fantastic. The cast is fantastic. The action is fantastic, and the comedy is brilliant. So thank you so much, Patrick.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.